got one.
That's a trick, Mike.
I don't need it.
It doesn't work. Yes, that's what we're going to do. That's what we hope to do. So what we want to do tonight is I asked that we set this up so that we're going to have a strategic conference, a meeting, workshop for the council and people on the staff and that next month. And it's kind of a yearly thing that they do, but with a change of the government by the city council and the city manager, we wanted to try to come up with some new ideas, see if we wanted the old ideas, whatever. And that was supposed to happen and it kind of got pushed back. So it's going to be, I keep forgetting whether it's the 15th or the 18th of December. So I said, well, why don't we have a town hall meeting between now and then and see what you guys think? And so that's what we did this for. What I'd like to do is be able to tell you a little bit about what we have thought about as a council. Back in June, July, August, sometime in there, we had a strategic planning meeting. You know, if you've ever been in business or military or whatever, you know they have those all the time. They print them up and they're all nice and they're bound and they put on the shelf and nobody reads them. But we want to make it more active, but something that reflects what you guys think you want, because that's what you elected us for. This is not a dictatorship. We don't decide. We just try to represent. But if we don't know what you want, it's hard to represent. And that way we always get it wrong, which, as any of you know, in government, 50% of the time you screw up anyway. So what we wanted to do tonight, we have an agenda, which you know we have to have. But basically, when we did the meeting back in July, we had, I don't know, it was almost all day, I think it was. And we came up with some ideas, but they didn't get published, unfortunately, for a lot of different reasons. And so we've been kind of operating off of those ideas that we had, but we never told you guys. It's secret stuff. We can't tell you. Well, that's stupid. So what I wanted to do tonight is give you an idea of what we had come up with and get your input on those things. So when the three of us go to the meeting, plus the other two guys that are out of town, then we'll have some idea what you guys think. And that's what's important. And we want to be open and transparent. We're not always going to agree. Yay. I mean, you know, are you married? Do you always agree? Last time I learned about that. It only took 3 trips to the ICU before I figured that out. I am never right. And I just, you know, right, Kathy? Anyway, so let's go ahead and get rolling. Does that answer anybody's questions about why are we here? So let me show you what, oh, he's trying to tell me I'm not doing it right. You know Stephen Bishop, one of the council members, Dorothy Allen, another member, and our phenomenal interim city manager, who was saving our bacon on more than 2,000 occasions, Uriah Nelson, from COG, you know, the Council of Governments over in Belton that kind of helps all the small communities stay out of jail. So, and do all kinds of stuff that we're not smart enough to do. And, you know, you don't want 100 communities trying to decide the same question. If they can answer the question and you can plagiarize it, why not? You know. So anyway, why don't I ask these guys to give their ideas of what we want to do tonight? I'm just going to act as the host, and hopefully we're going to have a conversation. Anybody wants to get mad, go outside and beat a tree or something. I'm too damned old to mess around with people getting mad. I don't care. That was a long time ago. So let's just have a conversation about what we want and see where we want to go. We get a lot of input from people. A lot of people come to the meetings but don't want to say anything, so we want to make it open and you guys can say whatever you want. Please, give us input. Stephen.
Well, I think ultimately I'm here tonight because I ran with the pretense of being a voice for the community, and the community, some of it is represented right now, and so that's why I'm here. So honestly, I have nothing to say tonight other than I truly want to listen and hear what people have to say.
You got the cheap mic again.
Mine works.
Oh, they couldn't hear you in the back.
Oh, sorry.
Dorothy, does yours?
Yeah, I think I'm good. So I'm here to listen also. I mean, we have a lot of input when we met with, to formulate the operating plan back in June. We had all the department heads and key employees, and we spent half days, 5, 6 hours, and came up with what we thought the priorities of the city were. We didn't flesh them out. We didn't get the wording right, but it was a start. And then we also, for those of you that participated, or even if you didn't, the firm Colliers out of New Jersey is working on our comprehensive plan, and they did a survey back in January of 2023, and there was 550 people participating, the majority of which were full-time Morgan's Point residents. And there is a ton of information in here, feedback on specific topics. So we didn't go, excuse me, we didn't go in totally, all brand new. There's a lot of resources out there that we called upon. I love town hall meetings because the people that, do care and have the time to come are always informative. And you get different perspectives, and you also get things in their words as opposed to surveys that you have options on. So town halls, to me, give us some feedback in your own words. So I'm here to listen, basically, after all that.
How many of you participated in the survey? You think it was legit? Yeah, some of us thought maybe, if you've taken more than one class about anything, you can word a questionnaire any way you want the answer. So we're always kind of. Well, yeah, we're going to do that. Yeah, well, you're going to see how a 3-year-old writes.
I also have what the previous council's priorities were from their March of '22 retreat, and then I have ours that we drafted in June. Well, what the point of looking back is, we didn't change that much. I mean, we're continuing on with the same priorities that the previous council came up with a couple tweaks. So I don't know if you want this, Pat, if that would be helpful.
Not to disagree,
Go ahead.
but a couple of years ago, we found out that we were going to become a destination resort. And I said, oh my. Yeah, that's not exactly what I said, but, clean it up. And so when we did ours, that a destination resort, I don't think is a priority for this community. What we're hearing from walking around and talking in the election was we want to have a quiet little community the way it's always been. You have to grow, you have to expand, you have to do this, you have to do that, but we don't want to be Salado. I mean, everybody loves Salado that doesn't live there. If you live there, I'm sorry. But downtown Salado is just Touristville, USA. And nobody lives there except, a couple of guys. Everybody else lives out in the suburbs. I've been around a lot of tourist towns, and I don't know. We just drove up to the train thing for the weekend, Christmas train thing with the kids. That was fun. Liberty Hill. Shh, don't tell them I said that. Have you ever been through Liberty Hill? You talk about uncontrolled growth that just went crazy. I don't think that's what we want to do here. And that's not what anybody's proposing. But what we said was we want to be a nice, quiet bedroom community. Thank you very much. And, leave me alone. Let me do my thing within reason. I'm not going to put a farm up next to the city hall, but anyway. So as we were going through this, we came up with some different things. And one of them, I don't know how to do this without being klutzy about it. We had a page and we called it the goals, and No, you don't need to do that. I wander too much. When I was teaching, I would wander because I'd always catch the guys in the back sleeping, and come by and, oh, sorry, damn. Didn't mean to drop that book, it's 400 pages or something. And like, oh. My favorite one was we had a piece of telephone wire, the cable stuff they put underground that the backhoe guys dig up. And I don't know how many pieces of wire were in that thing, but I would hate to be the guy that had to try to glue them back together. And every now and then, just for emphasis, I'd pick it up and go whoomp on the top of a table, and you see people just all over the place suddenly wake up. I must have been, which is probably more true than I want to admit. But
Nice. Good job, Donna.
I had a lot of people in class that thought, I don't need this stuff, and I'm smarter than all of that, and I know everything except they couldn't pass the test.
So Pat, why don't we try to figure out how we can start hearing from the citizens? So,
Well, okay, what I was going to do is put one of them up and then talk about
oh, that's great. Sure.
it. Sorry.
No, I'm just trying to keep us focused.
I'm trying to focus. I'm trying. Okay, so the number one thing okay, how about this? One of the goals that we put down was to a bedroom community. And by that, we mean just a quiet little place that you go after work or before work, and you just, do what a bedroom community does. You sleep and enjoy. We wanted to talk about infrastructure. Spelling, where's WordPad when I need it? Now, we do have some infrastructure problems. We like to talk about it and then go, oh, it's too hard to do. But roads are one of the big ones. And if you haven't heard the discussion, we have 45-ish miles of roads that we're responsible for. And there was a gentleman came over a couple of meetings ago that fixes roads for people, and it's about $250,000 a mile. And that's if they don't get crazy, like have to dig the whole thing up and start from scratch. That's a lot of money. $1 million will get you 4 miles a year. We got 40 plus miles, 10 years. Asphalt lasts what? 15 to 20 years on a good day. So we're trying to figure out how to do that smart without having everybody go into debt up to their earballs. So we're still working on that one. Don't lose that. We want to talk about safety. And that's a big deal. I was talking to the chief a little bit earlier today, and we were talking about the license cameras and all that kind of stuff. And one of those nearby communities, unnamed, just starts with a T, but I don't know what it is. On some of their cameras, they have shot detectors. I'm sorry, I'm an old guy. If they got to have shot detectors, I'm out of here. That's for gunshots. When they hear gunshots, it can geolocate them, and the cops can respond, which is wonderful. I just think if we ever get to that point, U-Haul's going to have a lot of business. So, but we care about safety. The two big things that we have that make this a wonderful place safety-wise is we got a really good cop force and we got a really good fire department. And correct me if I'm wrong, but at the budget item, it's about 1.2 million for those guys. And I think that's about normal or a little bit below for comparable cities in Central Texas. So we're not extravagant and we're not, cheating anybody. Isn't that about right? Well, yeah, but I mean, as far as the things that they can do, I think the chief was saying that that's about comparable with towns like this. Oh, okay, then I was sleeping during that part. Okay, yeah.
Can I make a comment? But I think the reason we are so, this to me, we went on vacation without having the door locked and nothing happens. I have the policeman come over, tell me, you should actually close your door at night. I think that speaks for our, in a way, police department too. They really do community police department. Maybe that's why we can manage to have such a cheap police department, because they actually come and talk to people.
Yeah. I mean, I think, am I wrong on that? Is that not one of the big pluses, is that we have a low to non-existent crime rate? I mean, you guys have lived here for a long time. Jim Ann, you've lived here for a long time. You know, you don't have to have ADT in the yard with guard dogs and machine guns. So I think that's a good one. I mean, everybody wants that. We want green spaces and environment. I think everybody loves seeing all the wildlife out here. Yeah, I know they eat the plants, but hey, you know, that's what the deer are made for. We got squirrels running all over the place. We got butterflies up the kazoo. It's just a beautiful, beautiful place. And with all of the trees and everything, look at the new construction where they just make it a plateau like out on the prairie someplace and then stick some plastic trees up or something. That's absolute opposite of what we've got out here. And I think that's one of the big calling cards for out here, and I think that's one reason a lot of us stay, is just because it's quiet and all that, stuff keeps it nice and not country rural, but nice rural. Right, Linda? Yeah, I mean, that's why we like it. We like the trees. Yes, sir.
Sure. I used to live in Copperscode, and I retired from Fort Hood. And then I got a job in Temple. I moved here because it was a bedroom community, close enough to drive to Temple, and it was away from Fort Hood. Safety, we noticed you never saw anything in the papers about Morgan's Point having problems at that time. And green spaces is the main reason I moved here. There were twice as many trees as there are right now in 1999 here. I have pictures, satellite pictures that can show you. Okay, go ahead.
But it's not a prairie. Yes, sir.
So I'm new to the area. I just moved here. I live right down by them. My name's Josh, by the way.
Hi, Josh.
Hi. So with the safety thing, I have really young kids, and you got those people that speed through Canyard, like
Road.
right there, just blowing through there, and I can't move as fast because I'm a disabled veteran, and so my kids are out there playing in the yard, car comes through, I don't want to see them getting hit, and I got a newborn on the way too, so.
I think tenured is a problem. I don't know.
I'm staying out there yelling at
Yeah, it probably does just as much good as yelling at the wind, but it's always been a problem. I think the only way I don't know, we're going to let somebody smarter than I am figure that out. Speed bumps don't seem to slow anybody down very much anymore. Yeah. When they designed the place, I don't know. Do you remember anything about when they platted you guys it was platted when you got here, right? Yeah, okay. For whatever reason, they made that, I think that's about the only straight through street in the whole city. I think, tenured. Yeah, if you get drunk enough, you can just drive straight into the lake and then be a casualty, but that's not what we want. I think the answer is going to be figuring out some way to slow that one down, because it also greatly affects Oakmont Park. One of them guys.
Yeah, that's one of those. But if I can think of something I can do that,
Sure. Yeah, I don't know. My thought was, a lot of times we've had a problem in the last few years with Oakmont because they had big parties out there, and which I thought was great. It's the most beautiful park we have. Sorry, park man. But I'm prejudicing him. I think that's a beautiful park. It's absolutely gorgeous. You can see everything, and you can, No, but I think if one thing you could probably do if we can get somebody's approval and if it's legal. It's just, like barriers, the construction barrier type things, and you have to drive around them. Yeah, it's going to be a pain in the butt, but after a while, everybody's going to figure out it's not the drag strip. And I don't know. I haven't talked to the cops, so I don't know if that's a legit argument or not.
So,
Yes, Joanna.
Oh, nobody's talking bad about it.
And it was patrolled for quite a while.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
we would fully track around town.
Yeah.
There was,
Yes, I think it very much so. Yeah,
you know, things just kind of.
yeah.
it's County Road and Tanyard are an accident waiting to happen. Both the feeder roads are 40 miles an hour. As people come off of Morgan's Point coming from this direction, 40 miles an hour. We live on the corner of Ridgewood and County, and cars are going by our house 40 miles an hour. That intersection's not defined, so you got cars coming going towards the lake, and you got cars coming through County. It's Russian roulette. There's no control. There's no sign.
There's a yield sign, but it's not a stop.
Yeah, I think that's one of the areas that we're going to work on and try to figure out a smart way to do it, if there is a smart way. I don't know. Without making it just dig the road up and make it a tar pit. Public trust and transparency. That's one of the reasons that I wanted to do this, was to bring some transparency. You guys can tell us what you think. We can tell you what we think. We can have a dialogue. We cannot have a dialogue at a city council meeting. Did you know that? You get up and you say, Pat, your feet smell, you're ugly. Oh my God, I hate you. I just got to go, because I can't respond to you. So if you ask us a question, we can't respond. And if it's not on the agenda, we can't even discuss it. This is a town hall. Yes, ma'am. Oh. Sorry, I was trying to look for a gesture. Fly away, Pat, fly away. If we can have an open discussion, we can bring a lot of this stuff up, but you can't do it at council meeting. We cannot, I didn't know this until May, I promise you. The council members cannot talk amongst themselves if there's 3 or more. So if we want to say, God, what are we going to do about that? What about this? We can't do it. It has to be in an open meeting, which is good, but you know as well as I do that not everybody plays the game in Austin. You imagine all those representatives and stuff sitting up there going, and their staffs are not doing nothing, right? Shit. You believe that, you believe in Santa Claus too. But we can't do that. So when we have a meeting, we cannot address your questions or concerns at that meeting unless it's an agenda item. So it's very, very tight on how we can communicate. And not being able to communicate amongst ourselves is not a lot of fun. Dorothy has a lot of ideas. I have a lot of ideas. Stephen obviously has a lot of ideas. The other guys have a lot of ideas. But we can't sit down and talk about them. And if I come and talk to you, blah, 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 council member, and you go over and say, Pat said blah, 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 there's a walking quorum thing that says, wrong answer. You can't do that. I did not realize that when I came up for council. I mean, that's dumb. Well, I'm sorry, that's not dumb. It's very restrictive on what we can say. Yes, ma'am.
Because what it does is it guarantees that your citizens get to go up and say what they want, and they get to say what needs to be said without being attacked back. That's the reason.
Well, yes. Yes, but if you have a concern and you say blah, 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 and there's a factual error or a misunderstanding or somebody wants to interject something, we can't say anything. So.
But citizen comments is about them sharing your opinions, how you address it later is a totally different story. Now, I'm new to all local government, but to me, if you have council members who would be allowed to respond to that
Yeah, and I appreciate that. You know, it's kind of like the anonymity without being inanimate, you know. But if you have a legitimate concern and you want us, you know, I think that the signs all ought to be blue. And we can't say, well, state law says they have to be yellow.
Would you at that time put it in as a possible agenda item?
Yeah, but it is an inhibition. So exactly, if you have a concern and I want to talk about it, you and I can get together, but we can't do it in that meeting. So
Just the way the
anyway.
law is set up, Pat. Like the state law, and that's.
Well, yes. I'm not saying that we want to circumvent the law in any way, shape, or form. It's just a restriction I think some of us were not totally aware of when we said, yeah, I do. Oh, yeah. Well, but then we can only talk about it in an open meeting. Anyway, public trust, we did that. Communication. When is that not a problem? Yeah, it does, but how do you get the word out to people? And we've tried a lot of different ways over the years. We had newsletters, we mailed newsletters. Remember going over to the library and folding and sticking Scotch tape on them and all that other stuff? And just some of it just, you know, so now they're trying very, very hard to have the website be more and more active and you can find more information. We have, there's one non-city website or Facebook group that has a lot of information. It's just not the city's voice. It's people within the city. And Jim Ann, you're really active on that.
Yes. The problem is, a lot of people don't go to the website.
Yes,
I don't know.
yes,
It's always tried.
yeah.
And for Facebook, but not, Facebook is not always active.
Yes. But I mean, the point is, anybody who's ever lived with anybody besides themselves, communications is a problem. So we're trying hard to work on that and get it as public as we can. Transparency is what I'm shooting for. Yes, ma'am.
Ever considered having an app, city app? Because the thing is that a city website, I get it, it's totally, it has all the information, but unfortunately, people are so, like, they want their information instantly. Facebook is instant. So I'm just thinking if there was an app on.
I think they're looking at that in,
That's also my idea, actually. I have not heard anybody suggest that. That is.
I'm not sure, but what they're working on that, or something like it.
Yeah,
They do?
there are a couple locations that have an app. It's not something that I had thought about, and I hadn't talked with Esther about, of course, but it's something we can definitely.
Yeah. But that's,
The problem is getting people to an actual website. It's a lot to type in. The website name is very, very long. People can misspell and put Morgan's Point or Morgan Point Resort.
They could end up in the coast.
yeah, because Morgan's Point is a city over in the.
There may be other options that are out there to get that communication.
That's a really great idea.
Yeah. Financial integrity, you always want that. I think, yes, Dorothy is very, very adamant about, and Donna and everybody has been, the audits. And if you don't know anything about financials and all of that, it's like, what are you worried about? It's kind of like not looking at your bank account and just keep writing checks. So that's, thankfully, we've got people that know the insides and outs and how important that is, that are staying on top of it. So yeah, it's a pain in the butt, but it's supposed to be.
So these are some of the things that we addressed and now what we want to hear you guys talk, because we can sit here and talk, but truly, like, I want to hear, like, I came here, I can call Pat. I can talk to Pat as long as we're not in a quorum. It's like, but I don't necessarily, I mean, I guess I could call you guys. Truly, I want to hear what you guys have to say. I think Dorothy's in the same boat. Pat's in the same boat. I mean, so really, like, what is it? I mean, obviously, tenured, man, that's on all of our radar, just so you know, because it is not good.
Yeah,
I've been
yeah.
out there with my kids too, and it is not good.
Yeah. No, I don't have that much time in my life. What I did want to
I wish we
do,
could pass. the mic.
Yes,
Why can't we
I
pass?
say that would
I
be
think,
great.
I think we should
Good,
pass
okay.
the microphone.
all right, in a minute.
Okay,
Can I finish?
okay, sorry.
All right, so my intent tonight was to talk about the major strategic things that we want to go to the meeting on the 18th when we decide what our strategic goals are for the next year. That's important for a lot of different reasons. One, gives us some direction to go and to get the staff to go, but it very, very much affects the budget. Because you say, I want these, just like you do at home. I'm going to buy this, I'm going to buy this, and I'm going to buy this. You have to allocate money against it. And it's it's not that rigid that you can't change it, but I mean, it's very complicated. We went through a very long process of the budget, and it is complicated. And we have some experts that know about it. But that's why we want to get the strategic goals out. And that's what I was trying to hope that we could get to tonight, would be just talk about 5 or 6 main big ideas that we can take to the meeting on the 18th, 13th, 15th, 19th, whenever the hell it is.
Or
And-
I'll fill in some details on the ones that are already up there.
Yeah,
Some specificity, maybe with priorities.
But, you know, we can be here all night talking about all kinds of different things, but what I wanted to do is just get to the big ones. Okay. Well,
Basically, her survey resident community, people like it quiet, infrastructure, roads is needed, there's probably more safety. Basically, he said it's important. Speed bumps.
well, public transport, trust and trans,
And the green space, we like parks, we could probably improve the ones we have greatly. Public transportation,
no, not public trust. Sorry, I told you it was a 3-year-old writing. Come on.
Transparency or transparency.
communication, the website, possibly some apps.
How do you do, that's the things that we want to work at. That's what we decided that were the things we wanted to work on.
Yep.
Okay, my only point was, let's try to address something at this level so that,
Do you want to come to the mic
I'd love to hear what you have to say, Scott.
too?
Well, don't we have?
I'm so sorry.
no, we're not going to do that. Just talk.
Okay. All right. Okay, they had public comments, so I will try to go fast because we've wasted 35 minutes, I think, in a really big introduction. Some things good, but I think, wow, we used a lot of time here. But as far as the city priorities, I'm trying to figure out what's the difference between the city priorities and the strategic goals. I really am not sure what the difference is on that. I know in my head the definition between the two, but I'm not sure on that piece of paper if that's been addressed. Strategic, I think a long-term, but your
Can I comment
city
on that
priorities
real
can be
quick?
tactical, short-term, 3
Right,
to 5
and
to 1, yeah.
I think this is for 23, 24 that we're
Right.
going to address in December. So to me, that is a operational plan
Right.
as opposed to a strategic plan. I don't know how those words got interchanged,
Right,
but I hear you loud and clear. And this is really an operating plan.
okay,
And, you know, it's for this year, but we can also talk about, we're going to be pretty close to 24, 25. So don't limit yourself.
so, and they're always living,
Yeah,
breathing
exactly.
documents that continue to go based on
Right.
tax and what's
What
been
we get
done
done
and
and what's
personnel
still
and
open. Right.
climate, economic climate. and stuff. Okay, so basically my quick input would be, and Linda Burgess and I have talked, and we've talked to some community people as well. And one of the things that I'll say is we talked about maybe some, and this is not a priority as far as anything, but more welcoming entrance to the city would be something that would be interesting. The other is the make sure with the sidewalks coming, with the safe routes to school grants and stuff, that maybe there's, ways to get those sidewalks. And I know there's going to be not a great decision when it comes to different parts. People don't, But that's, I think that's a great thing. But at the same time, when those sidewalks come in, of course, and as city planners and council, you'll know that's a great time that maybe the Four Corners area, would be a good time to clean up. And then you can address some of those things like safety. And so if there's other grants, either federal, state, or even with Bell County, some of the judge money that they have for certain safety things that maybe they can put money towards where you use combined public works.
Right, and there is a Temple master plan that we
Yes.
are involved in, from 317 down to County Road, down to Four Corners.
Yes, ma'am.
And whether expanding that or not. And so there's about 4 or 5 things that need to come together before we say, okay, sidewalks, because it's really a master plan for that area.
Sure. And then for me, and I'm only speaking for myself, not everyone else, but for strategic goals, because it would definitely be a strategic goal, but the water, obviously water addressed coming down from the high school. And of course, there's going to be building from 317 on that side from what I call the farmhouse. There's going to be, that's already plotted through the city of Temple. And so I think that there's opportune times where it's just a natural time where the city could work with the other city, which it sounds like you are. But
Sewer,
water
too.
mains and
In
sewer.
that same area.
And
on the corner.
and I'm one of those when asked if someone said, well, would you pay to have a sewer line hooked up from your house and over? And I said, yes, I would. Because after getting my sewage pumped and couple, I've lived here 27 years, so after a couple repairs here and there, I'd be one that'd say, I'd be all for it. Not everybody's in my corner, obviously. No one will agree on that. But anyway, but water and sewage long-term would probably be a good thing for our city. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Scott.
Thank you. Yeah, those are great.
Infrastructure, and I think safety with the sidewalks is a important area. And then with
It's really a guided growth. It's really getting businesses down there. Yeah. Right.
in the Four Corners area, there's definitely places for growth with the city, not necessarily tourist areas, not like a big Salado, but I think in talking in the business group, we've talked with the business group that you take backyard barbecue and stuff, she said she would welcome additional restaurants in Morgan's Point. And so I think there's things that would really add, enhance the livability of our community and just ourselves on that way. Infrastructure. I think that's the limiting factor.
So I see that Lynn is pointing over to Linda. Oh,
Jim Ann.
Jimmy Ann. Okay. Oh.
Yeah, that's great. It would really help if everybody is comfortable just coming up, but whatever you prefer.
Ultimately, this should be a safe place. It's a town hall.
Right, exactly.
I looked at the website, and it was under the agenda.
Thank you.
We can have 4 minutes to speak. So I made a speech,
Okay, thank you.
and I'm going to read it. Okay,
Is your little green light on?
there's 2 green lights on.
There we go.
So let me know if you can't hear me. All right. City priorities and community concerns. The continuing deterioration of our city streets. This is a problem that's been discussed and rediscussed for over 2 years by 2 separate city councils. The current city council rejected a bid by an independent consulting firm to study the city's streets and roads in order to determine road repair priorities to be used as a basis for developing a strategic plan and costs for the repair of our roads and street infrastructure. The current city council was informed that in order to develop such a plan and secure proper funding, that plan would have to be developed by an independent professional firm. I am requesting that the city council agree to the next steps so that this infrastructure problem can be addressed and not delayed any longer. This situation is affecting not only our current citizens and visitors, but also the ability of the city to attract new businesses and residents. And I will add this. I think I've been coming to council meetings for a long time, and I think I've been speaking about the streets for a long time.
Believe it's going to be on the agenda in December,
Thank you.
and I believe the city engineer will be there, and
We did do an RFQ process to
Good.
get somebody for a road study, and we have received and closed that bid process.
Okay.
And we are reviewing it this time with action to come from council on possible moving forward.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Changing from a septic tank system to a municipal water system. A lack of action by the city council, city management to address and develop a long-range plan to phase out the current septic tank systems in favor of a municipal water sewage system severely limits the ability to attract new small businesses, developers, and homeowners, resulting in a shrinking city budget and increased taxes. A municipal sewage system could help grow our tax bases.
And you know, that is being considered, and the previous council approved the master plan with Temple, and it just takes time. I know I am one of the most frustrated people coming from business, being in a government position, but that is in the works, and Linda Bridges has worked, with Temple, and EDC has, so it's in the works, is all I can
But-
say.
But also, there are people here who do not attend council meetings. So this is helping to inform them.
Perfect, yes.
Okay.
And I hope you don't mind me responding, but I think that's also informative.
I don't mind it at all.
Okay.
You know that. Okay. Continuity of our city government management. Last 5 years, NPR has had 4 city managers, 2 interim and 2 permanent. We are currently being managed by the second interim city manager. If any business were being run in this fashion, a stockholder would have serious concerns over the culture and attitude that is responsible for this situation. I believe this is a clear statement about management, working relationship between city councils and city managers. I would like to see this problem addressed short and long term with a serious look at the culture that has been created by the councils. An implementation of cultural changes is an opportunity to assure a continuity of city management that allows for meaningful long-term plans and changes for the good of all of the residents of NPR. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're always on the list. Santa's coming on Friday. He said you're on the naughty list.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, some of us want to stay.
Okay, I love your plans. I don't think I would have any other plans. I think that, to me, the overarching thing is a bedroom community. Keep it that way. And if we do anything, infrastructure, of course, whatever you said, water, sewer, streets, primarily, in my opinion, for the citizens. Not, and I don't want to shut out people. I want to be welcoming, but the goal is not growth. We will grow, everything grows, but the goal is not to encourage growth, in my opinion, because we want to stay a bedroom community. And with it comes make it livable for us who live here. I know older people don't pay, well, no, in Morgan's Point, we pay our taxes, so there's no reduction of taxes, whatever, because we don't have the 65 cutoff. My taxes go up every year. Make it for the people that live here. If we have businesses coming here, which would be nice, businesses that bring the city citizens together. We were just driving, Mike and I, through the business little thing up there by Windmill Farms, and I thought, well, there's a business district, but that's not where the community will go because it's all professional offices. Who goes there with their kids or anything? I think that should be the focus, not businesses for business sake. I think transparency, trust, communication. I personally think the current city council is really working on it, and I think communication from the city has been improved tremendously. I think this just goes hand in hand with keeping the community. I don't think there's any money or something involved. For strategy in return, with terms to money, well, that's infrastructure. That's all I want to say. Thank you.
Thanks.
I didn't write anything, sorry, y'all. I want to follow up on one thing that Jim Ann said. I think the most important thing right now is getting a city manager. I remember the other day when Jim Reed was in here, and that first night that he was talking, and I remember something he said, because y'all asked him what normally happens the first 2 months of this. And he said, well, this happens by the 2 weeks, this happens by the 4 weeks. We were in the 6 weeks, and we hadn't done any of those things. And he said, I don't care what you do, you just got to do something.
Right.
And that's what I feel. You've just got to do something. Because, and this, and you tell, and the infrastructure. Y'all run on infrastructure every year. I'm sorry, Donna, all of y'all, I'm sorry. But those roads have been talked about for 25 years, and they're still not done. And thank you, I see you shaking your head. Thanks, Sharon. They're not done. And if we can't make that $1 million times 44, which to me is 44 million, to fix all this, well, how the hell are you ever going to do it? So why do y'all run on infrastructure if it's not going to be done? And it just makes sense. If we can't make any money, then we can't pay $44 million for roads.
It's like 15 million.
Well, not for 45 miles.
Right, it's $250,000 a mile.
Well, that was his math, okay. But, yeah, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, no,
Either way, we don't have that money
I
either.
agree with you, and I think
we
this
don't have
council
that
has
money
been,
either.
since day one, hey, let's get RFQ, let's get this process going, let's get this process going. And in
And I guess,
December-
for people, nobody sees any of that.
Right.
None of it.
Yeah, I know.
Because all we hear is, let's put a pin in it, let's kick this can down the road. We really want to do that, but we don't want to do it right now. Let's do it the next city council, that kind of stuff. And that's what the people see. And you ask us, you wanted our opinion. And a lot of people talk to me, and like y'all said before, they don't have the nerve to come up here and talk. I might not be the best spokesman, but they tell me, and then I come and tell y'all.
That's why we love you.
And that, but yeah, okay. But anyway, I mean, that's what I feel too, though. I happen to agree with them on that. We have to have a city manager so that we have somebody we can go to, and we've got somebody that can come to us and he does stuff for us. And 8 hours a week, I'm sorry, doesn't work. I mean, I know y'all got big fish to fry in Colleen with the Housing Authority and all other kinds of places. There's stuff y'all got to do. You can't be here all the time. I get that. So.
I assure you,
Hire
he's doing more than
somebody.
8 hours worth of work right now.
That's what we were told in the
Yeah, no, I
the
know.
promise.
I know.
So that would be mine. Yeah, city manager, and then following through with said infrastructure and not waiting 25, 30 years because before we have even half of that, $20 million.
Sure.
We're not going to have it because we don't have a place that people can put crappers in. You can't put people in if you don't have a toilet for them to go to the bathroom when they're in there paying money for your business. I mean, so we know we can't have big things unless we change to a water system. Yeah, but there we go again, putting it down the road. And that's exactly the thing.
Lynn, we appreciate you. I really do.
Lynn, we absolutely agree with you more than you think that we do.
True story.
The problem is you can't get to there from here quickly. For example, we said, okay, we're going to go out and look at the roads and figure out what we think would be an order and then get somebody to take a look at it. And then, well, yeah, but then there was a little problem. When the city engineer came over, he said, you can do that. But if you don't have a road professional signing off on the plan, you're not going to get any money for it. Well, that's kind of self-defeating. So what we did is we took a step back and said, all right, let's do it the right way and prioritize it. One of the things, and Jim and I have talked about this and other people have talked about it, if you look over in that new section, what is it, the new houses over there that we went by? The Cliffs, I think it is. If you look on the side of the road, they've got that strip about a foot wide right on the edge of the road. Okay, they do. They called it a ribbon. And what that does is it keeps the sides from breaking down, which a lot of our streets, I think, there's less in the middle than it is on the sides. And that's because of water and all that other stuff. If you could do something like that, that would be a whole heck of a lot cheaper. And still get you what you want, which is a road that doesn't take and put you in the alignment shop every
We've
week.
started doing that. We did that at a bus stop, Four Corner area over on Great West Loop, because the roads were significantly eroding and we needed to fix them. So we said, let's fix them right. Yeah, some people call them ribbons, some people call them aprons, and you know, they're about 12 inches or 10 inches, whatever you choose to do.
Yeah.
So
That, I mean, that,
Very
we're
loud and
trying to look
clear.
at those kinds of things, because a lot of the roads are crappy, but they're crappy on the sides. And that's, you know, so that might be, that's one of the things that we're trying to push for an alternative.
This has a green light, so I could use this. Does that work?
Well, then I'll just take mine and go.
Pickleball is the fastest growing sport in the world. In the world. I don't know if y'all knew that or not.
yes, it
We're having a Parks and Rec committee at some point in time, so consider that. But
December.
more importantly than that, when was this survey done?
It was done in, well, it was released in March. It was done in January of '23.
We had a survey prior to that. And that survey, we had several things that, one of those was to fix this community center. The other was to build another facility. That was approved by Economic Development Board 100%. It was approved by the then council 100% and by the citizens. And the mayor, I don't think the mayor's here tonight, said that after we spent the money for this to fix it up, we would start that. Does everybody know what a gym looks like? The size of a gym? Okay. Holy Trinity built one. St. Mary's built one. That's very similar to the plans that were turned in for the city. It was a 3-phase construction. The first phase was going to be about $96,000, and that was 6 years ago. Second phase was about 100. Third phase was about 100. It was to complete and enclose a gym-type facility. At that time, 6 years ago, we had verbal commitments for $50,000 a year to rent that facility for basketball games and volleyball games. And for volleyball, it was for them to train. I didn't know that was that important, but boy, it's crazy. 6 years ago, 50. So that's revenue for the city, okay? And it's probably more than that today. But I think if you'd look at that, the city could look at bringing that forward, because they had all the plans, everything was in place. If you can do that. The mayor, he's not here tonight, said that we didn't have the money until after this was fixed. He and David Huseman and Tom Edwards got together and they said, we'll fix this, then we'll do that. Pardon me? Correct. But, I mean, the mayor now said that then, he said, well, we'll move forward with it at that time to salvage, the citizens getting upset. And I agree with him. Let's fix this first and then do that, okay? So I'm just asking, consider that, look that in there, and it's probably gonna be more than $96,000 to start the first project, but we have the restroom facilities are there. We don't need to do restrooms. They're in place. They're all there. We have the parking lot there. The building, nothing would have to be done except move 2 power poles. TXU at the time came out, Encore came out, figured it all up, simple little deal. Nothing happened. So I'm asking you to consider that. The last thing, and Lynn, I was at fault when I told Jimbo last meeting that if you're looking to hire somebody, if he's good enough to be your son-in-law, hire him. Well, let me correct that. That was a sexist thing. I worked for a woman in 1972, best boss I ever had, so we could have a woman or a man as city manager. So just saying,
Right.
I'm all for that. So if you can't do it son-in-law, let's do the daughter-in-law. Thank you. Thanks for putting this on, too.
Yes.
Hey, Larry, you're referring to that pad that's at Ansay Park, correct? Is that?
There's no pad at Insay Park for the building.
But that's where you're talking about essentially. Okay, it's not. Restrooms, Insay Park. Yeah. Yep.
Between where you pull into the parking lot, there's a green space there, if you will. That's where the pantry's gonna go.
I've never seen those plans. Great place for makerspace.
So, along that comment, about it today, is that we should work with the assets that we have. And the biggest asset we have is our little sewer system that's right here. So Ansay Park, yes, it has a bathroom for 2 seats, a very small septic system. So for a big gymnasium, maybe not so much, but we have a tennis court, we have a sand volleyball, we have a basketball court, we have all these things that aren't being used. So build our gymnasium over on this side of it. Like, right, but you gotta look at the assets, the resources that we
Can I
have.
tell you something? The
Yes.
engineer looked at the restroom. He said it was just as functional as this. The problem with this here, and the reason the park,
Right, you've gotta be up, right, I know.
this slab is not supposed to be there. It's below the 642. The Corps of Engineers would not approve it. We just built it, okay? What's the old saying?
Ask for forgiveness.
Right, instead of.
There you go.
But
Okay.
I love your idea.
The
with-
only park in Morgan's Point Resort that we do not have to ask permission is Ansay Park.
Right.
Period. And the restrooms, according to the engineer at that time, were just as functional as these and would handle the same number of people. I don't know. I'm not an engineer, I'm not a sewer guy, but that's what he said. That's why we went with that area.
Right, well, I've done a lot of talking with sanitarians that are the sewer, because that was one of our issues with our business network, was talking about sewers. So we got an in-depth education on it. But just an idea, push it back, double the stories. But just an idea is to use the assets we have, instead of waiting 25 years to maybe see if we get sewer coming down 2483. But we've got assets right here. So let's make some kind of a moneymaker out of it, because bedroom community, I love it, but I lived in a bedroom community before, and we always had to chip in money every year for some kind of maintenance because it wasn't covered by city. And we'll find ourselves in the same position if we don't bring in some kind of income other than Amazon. Thank God for Amazon trucks. Oh, one more thing.
They're
on
tearing up our roads.
while I'm standing up here, one of the things that I wanted to mention, I love your meeting tonight. I've done a lot of research on community outreach for EDC. And one thing which brought to mind with the app is that we need to have, this is great to throw out your ideas once in a while, but let's get together and focus on an issue. You get people in our community who have a lot of knowledge on things. Put together some ideas, toss it around. Okay, so I came out with the idea on that. Larry came back and told me how come this wouldn't work. So if you hear that, then you're going to go, okay, well, that makes sense. Let's think of something else. So instead of stewing over it, then we sit there and we solve problems together. And when you have your skin in the game, you're more appreciative of what you have. So there's a great organization that shows you how to do it.
Good, yeah. We have a lot of committee meetings, and sometimes they're more like boom, 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 instead of discussions. And that's what you want, is you want to have a discussion. Anybody can go to a business meeting. Yeah, and that's kind of what a town hall type thing was at. Yes, sir.
If you're gonna fix the roads, what's the plan to make sure that the infrastructure under the roads is gonna be replaced? Because there's a lot of the city plumbing that needs to be repaired. Along with that, if you talk about hooking up with Temple and going that route, you wanna put in the new lines for the storage when you put the new streets in, so you don't have to tear the streets up to put the new sewer lines in. Is that being considered?
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. And trying to get that timing right, because there's like 47,000 people involved in it, is going to be a major project. I think the idea that everybody's smart enough to understand you don't put a road in and then dig it up and put the pipes underneath and then dig it up and put a sidewalk. Oh, no, no.
That number, and you're right, it is $250,000, but that's not fixing the problem.
Yeah, yeah,
That's just the asphalt.
yeah. That was not a complete dig up and start all over again. You had some comments, questions? Did we get anything close? Yes, sir.
Right, Robbie's like, I'm just here to listen.
Back here minding my own business,
Well,
man.
the guys in the back rows have all the right answers.
No, okay.
He doesn't have any answers. He doesn't have any voice.
He's married.
The only thing that I would say is I agree with Lynn. We need a new city manager, and there's one available right now.
Yeah, just as a comment. Yeah, there's the assistant city manager you heard before that when they did that in Killeen, they had 90 people apply, and they were probably all qualified. The one of the problems that I didn't realize is that the average of a city manager in this part of the world is about 5 years. 3 to 5. So, it's not because our feet smell and we don't look pretty that they're leaving. A lot of them are leaving because this is a stepping stone to the big bucks. The assistant manager or assistant city manager in Killeen got what, 195 for a salary? That's a little bit more than I make picking up aluminum cans. I mean, that's a hell of a lot of money in my world. So, if a guy or a gal is trying to make a future, you come and you do your thing and you go to the next step. Like minor league to.
No, I was talking about Terry.
Oh, yes. And yeah. We have not excluded any internal searches. We're trying to do it smart. Everybody thinks they're doing it smart, but you never know until it's over. You hire, okay, Lynn, think about it. How long does a football coach last at a high school in Texas?
It's almost out of the game.
Anyway, it's kind of like city managers. They flip really fast, or there's something wrong with them. Did you have a point, sir?
I got a couple of points. I'm not a dumb old dairy farmer. I've built roads even from a bulldozer grading trees to paving asphalt. The roads, part of it is maintaining the shoulders. Sometimes we got pavement out there drop off like that. A little bit of road base in there by the maintenance department will save that road. It's a long-term deal. I mean, you can't just say we're going to repave the road. That's not going to fix the problem. And my other concern is our water supply. I've been told and shot down that we cannot request the lake be raised a couple of feet at their what they call full pond or normal pond. If we don't push the Corps of Engineers to raise it, they're not going to raise it. 2 feet more on the pond, on what they call full pond, would have eliminated this problem this fall with the mud puddles at Highway 36. 2 feet at the full pond would equal probably 4 feet when it got down as low as it is. If the city would go in and request it from the Corps of Engineers and the other cities around do it, they would change something. I know the lake was built for flood control, but they've got too much safety above it, and we're dependent on the water below it.
Yeah, it's just a matter of them doing it. Larry, do you remember when they raised water level here in the lake? Yeah, right down here, this used to be the marina, if anybody wasn't here long. Yeah, so they brought it up 25 feet in the 90s, 80s, 70s. So they can do it. It's not going to be us asking. It's going to have to be a federal thing. But yeah, that's valid. And Salado just decided that they're going to punch a couple of wells That's really expensive. But they're going to try to get a couple of wells down. At least that's what Kathy read in the paper. So that's another alternative that has been talked about at the governmental, here at the governmental level. It's just, it's a valid point. I don't know how we can start asking you. We can go to the COG and ask the COG to give us an answer. Oh, yeah, I think everybody that can breathe is requesting it now, after all this.
Just for
Yes,
that
sir.
one specific item on asking the Corps, I'll just say, at the COG, we have talked with the Corps, and not for that specific thing, but we've also talked with a lot of the elected officials in this area. Water is needed throughout the county. We almost had a water district go completely dry in the past 30 days. So we're aware. We're working with all kinds of entities, not just the Corps, but drought is a real concern. And if there are ways to mitigate that, then we're happy to have those conversations and see what we can do.
Yeah, we don't have a lot of alternatives.
For that specifically.
We don't have an ocean that we can desalinate or, hopefully part of the answer to the sewer system is not to reuse the water, but, they do that in some places.
So one of the things I was thinking about was, anytime they talk about setting goals and getting things done, because one of the things I heard was, let's get something done. But, you've always got to narrow the priority, start getting down to not 5, not 3, not 2. Let's focus on 1. So out of the priorities that's been addressed tonight, what's the one that the city council's kind of really said, you know what, we've looked at the budget, we've looked at things in place, this is the one we're going to tackle as far as our...
Roads has been pretty much unanimously, since the day we were elected, honestly. Truly.
I just wondered, because there may be other things there, you're like, well, we can do this, but it's because something has to be like, here's our targeted goal for this year period. This is going to be done. So, and all energy effort efficiency goes right for that. So, yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm asking you. Yes, sir.
This is stuff that, I don't care what you do, you got to work on. This, I think we've got a good handle. The green spaces, we all love them, it's just, and the Parks Committee is going to be more assertive about that kind of stuff and get more involved. We don't want the same 3 people on 47 different committees. I don't. I want to hear from people that are concerned about others. The public trust, I don't know. The only thing you can do is hold people accountable. And you don't have to just wait for an election. Talk to people. Come and talk to us. And not just, hey, you should do that. The communications, I think, is improving. I like the app. I'm not a, that's, but yeah.
All right,
That's
thank
what
you.
we're trying to work on. I think the big problem with the streets is nobody realized really how complicated it can be when you're trying to do it smart. The point you were talking about for road grading, I love that because here it ought to be a piece of cake. You don't have to go down very far. You cannot go down very far without being on honest. And I have no idea. I asked one of the guys, hell, I don't know. It must be 7,000 miles, at least in my day. So the great thing about it is unlike that flat line, it's not different. So if we can get that straightened out, the base, and then take a look at those rivers. Just take a look at it. Because you're right, it's the sides, and they're all crumbling off. And part of that, we've been told, is because of water. Water and asphalt don't go together. But it doesn't work as a curve. It still has to let the water go. But it stops people having to go right to the edges. So that, you're exactly right. Yes.
Right.
If you can identify those shoulders, well, then we can put the ribbons on them. Maybe, I don't know. That's what we're going to hire the extra. The ribbon can be fine, but it's a big column.
It is. Right.
It's got to be cheaper than $4 million for a new road. Right. But you still got, if you do Exactly. So we want to come up with a holistic answer that doesn't just patch the patch. I mean, I don't know how many times out here on Morgan Point Boulevard, there's potholes to fill. You know, I like Jim Manning, guy that does the mosaics. You know, everybody will drive around.
Still got to be maintained.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And one of the things that happened was there was an increase in the budget for the maintenance guys to buy some more equipment that can patch roads or fix roads with the proper equipment and not just going out there, because they're stuck. They had that hot mix stuff where you get the bag and pound it down with a shovel. So there was money put in the new budget to buy them some of the equipment that they need to be able to do that at a certain level. You don't want to I think you're right. I think this is a number one priority for all of us. Where did I leave that? Cut me off if I
Alrighty. Well, hi, my name is John Tossi. I've been in this community over 25 years. Love it, and I love everything that everyone is trying to do here. The council, the previous councils, everyone that's been trying to make Morgan's Point a better place to live. I think that's why we're all here. We all want it to be a better place that we can live in safety, in a safe, clean environment for our family, for our kids, and for the future. And so kind of just got a lot of different comments, a lot of different things going in my head here. To talk about the bedroom community in our families, and some of you have mentioned safety and the roads, and I think they kind of, some of that goes hand in hand. I mean, I think we want good roads that provide safety and good, whether it's a stop sign or something that will enhance the safety. If our roads are not safe, from driving over, there's a pothole and your car is going to be consumed, or it's going to cause a car to get wrecked, go off the road. That's an issue. And I think we need to kind of start to think of, we don't have an unlimited budget here. We have a limited budget. We have, I think, some real needs, and we have some wants. And I think we kind of need to think of it maybe in that way. What are our real needs that can provide the safety to our bedroom community, the infrastructure to our bedroom community, meet the goals that we want to achieve from a green space, trails, all the things that are in the community survey. I think there were some really good comments there. And if we can tie those, the way I see it, if we can tie the needs to those community survey comments from this one and the previous one, because there was a lot of good comments in even the previous surveys as well. Combine them, I think we can achieve a lot. One thing, I mean, safety, it's easy to check we have safety, but I think we really need to, I drive up here to the high school, and I know we have it in the works with monies being allocated by the state. It's all going to be paid for. That's great. But we need to act, and we need to move forward on those trails from, maybe we prioritize that. Maybe you say, we need to get this done. This is a safety hazard right now. I see kids riding their bike there right now, and it's just an accident waiting to happen. I mean, when they built the high school up here and they put those little lane there for the bicycle, that's a disgrace for our community. And we need to be, you know, on Temple and the Belton ISD and say, this is a major safety hazard. We need you on board to help us move this project forward and take care of that issue that ties into our community here. So to me, I've got, you know, I get emotional because I see these kids there and I'm like, every day I'm thinking, someone's gonna get killed here. And we need to do something now, I think. So prioritize, you know, that would be one of the things. Let's figure out what our real needs are. And I think our real need is to protect our families, protect our kids, protect our community. And that's really what we're here for. And then let's address that. Put our money, put our effort into the need of our community and our people. Do I want to have a better, you know, business community, maybe up at Four Corners and that, and with septic and everything, or not septic, but yeah, that's probably more of a want, because that's not safety right now. That's not a need, that's a want. So I would say really let's focus on our needs, what we need to do here in the community right now to make it a safer, better place for us to live and enjoy. And so that's where I would put the priority. I mean, you know, those tactics to make that happen. Okay, well, I have more, and I think, you know, I could go. There's other things here, but you know, just guidance. I mean, if we need to have more of these meetings or breakout meetings, and we're going to talk about the road here, maybe that's the way, and that's all we take each one of your items there, and we break it down into a meeting, you know, that can be addressing just those items, you know, as you have listed as the priorities, you know. That would be, yeah. So that would be, yeah. And that would be, you know, maybe you have it an ongoing rolling, you know, meeting every week to make that happen and get active members in the community to help those, you know, to help progress that. So anyway, I don't want to take up all the time, but I could probably talk a lot longer, but thank you.
Thanks, John. Yep.
Let me just make one real quick point, just because I'm like you on the sidewalk. My question, because I've asked the question for almost a year now, and I've never gotten an answer. How many of our kids walk from the elementary to the high school down the street? I see them walking across the street, over to the backside of the street. I very seldom see them. So I have asked numerous times, and I still don't have an answer. And I'll tell you my concern, and I understand what you're saying. But as a taxpayer, sir, they have great big sidewalks on the other side of the city. Yes, they do.
They don't have sidewalks to walk right now, so that it's kind of hard to, how do you come up with an answer to that? Because right now it's not safe for the children, you know, to be on that side of the road, so we can't count or see how.
Well, my point was, ask the school, how many of your kids would want to walk home? I mean, how hard is that question to ask? They already figured out that the state practice.
That's how we got the sidewalk.
Right.
Tons are walking the other direction. Tons. You have to like wait here at the red light, they're piled up. Because there's a sidewalk,
So which came first, the chicken or the egg?
The sidewalk.
Is it not a fair question to ask how much utility it's gonna be? Remember, 6 months ago, that sidewalk was gonna cost $1.2 million. It's pretty damn expensive sidewalk. Now it's 3.8. What's it gonna be when they lay concrete? And then you've got the improvement to the road, then you've got the water and the sewer, and then you've got the sidewalk, and you've got, next time you drive out by the high school, I'm not opposed to the sidewalk, but I am opposed to putting in a sidewalk if there's no kids gonna walk on this street. I mean, why can't we just get a straight? How hard would it be? So in the old days, you used to have a PTA, and the PTA was involved in that kind of thing. How many of your kids wanna walk down there? You know, now I just see lines and lines and lines of cars. But you have right now, we have, the kids are buying, they're gonna walk, but anymore. I mean, that's, on that road, there's no safe way to walk down that road. A gravel path or a trail, and then if you have to dig it up for the pipes or whatever you're gonna do, you're not running into, you know, like, oh my God, we just spent $1 million putting you know. Yeah. Part of that money, I think, yeah, and I think part of the money, it went from just just kids security to bicycle paths, and that they increased the scope of that was designed for. Yeah. I think the simple answer is because we're not allowed to do it. I would bet you dollars to donuts that TxDOT, blah, 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 has to rubber stamp anytime you wanted to do something like that. Yeah.
And right. But the problem, where the problem lies is, there may be an easement there, but there still may be right-of-way requirements. And if we don't have the right-of-way to just drop the trail down, then we can't do it.
Yeah, see, a lot of that's not in the city limits.
And that's why we are actually meeting next week with the city of Temple. We're coordinating this whole sidewalk effort because we'd like to, it is a priority for us. We want to stress that to the city of Temple because they have a project with the MPO for funding of the widening of the road. And what we're trying to avoid is putting the sidewalk in and then having it destroyed when the road is widened in 2 or 3 years. But we're trying to coordinate all those efforts. But I do see your point with throwing a temporary shared use type path there. I think there are possibly some right-of-way legal requirements that we'd have to contend with.
Somebody getting killed at that intersection, then to finally put that in motion. It should not come down to that, or some child or adult, whoever it is, gets killed in order for us to take it seriously.
Yeah, I mean, we have that issue with North Point, in my opinion, with 317. Yeah, it's outside of our jurisdiction.
The problem with that part of it is, that's gonna take a couple of years to study, because we have to go through the studies. What effect is the water gonna have from the runoff of the sidewalk? What effect, if they're gonna widen the road at the same time, what effect is the road gonna be? How much of that asphalt's gonna run off into people's yards? All those studies have to be done, but evidently they can be done quickly to get it done, because, they find the right buttons. You're gonna have to keep talking to them and hitting the buttons until, you know.
Nobody's dragging their heels up. And I'm not saying I don't want it, I just want to need some data.
I want that one thing to be said, I didn't say anybody's dragging their heels. But they're going through the normal, they're going through the normal process, but there's ways to expedite that process.
From where it's at right now, I mean, there are a lot of wheels in motion, and I get that it's a priority for Temple, but the MPO is a regional organization. So there are competing projects. While I sit here as the interim city manager, also the MPO director, there are competing projects all over the region that have these same type of concerns. So they have to compete. And if Temple is not selected for funding, then we have to determine which way the city of Morgan's Point Resort is going to move forward with the sidewalk, because we don't want to lose that $3.8 million. We don't want to lose that safety project. Now, there are other conversations we can have with the school district, with the city of Temple, to see how we can fund these. But the way things are right now, the city of Temple is the only person that has applied for that entire, all the way up to Four Corners here. The city doesn't have any money in that at all on the application that is at Killeen Temple MPO. The city of Temple has all of that because we have the sidewalk. So there can still be some additional conversations if it's not prioritized correctly, but we just need to be aware as a community that while it is a priority here, you know, these dollars are for regional projects of significance, but there are also other options to look for funding. Just like we got the sidewalk money, we can have conversations with the Waco district on safety funding. We can have those type of conversations to see what may be out there. It's not an end-all be-all or whatever, but.
If you had numbers of kids that neither one potentially could be using that, that'd be a hell of a lever. There was no number. Not a number of kids that would be utilized. And at the time, that was, again, safety. Now it's a little bit larger. So how many people would use it for walking? How many kids would use it? How many? If you put numbers on it, that always speaks louder than I want. We have a school there.
And now, so you can certainly do those things now. Letters for congressional support, of course, those impact different money than K-Tempo dollars. But all of K-Tempo's meetings are open to the public. We have a comment page on our website. I encourage all of you to check out our website, and please provide written comments on how important this is, so that the people that are on the advisory committee and the people that are on the policy board that are making these funding decisions have this information and know that it is a priority to the citizens of this community. That being said, you know, could there have maybe been some better planning on the part of the school district, Temple, and the city as the schools were being built? Possibly. So maybe we reach out to them as well to look for funding alternatives should the city of Temple not get awarded the funding. Like I said, there are multiple options, but for the MPO dollars, yeah, I encourage everybody in this room to get on our page and leave a public comment, because that's how we share with our policy board what the public sees as necessary. We're currently updating our public involvement plan and all of that so that we can get this type of information.
So with
I'll be honest with you, I would actually have to look at that because those are four very specific entities that all have their own board, that are all appointed or elected officials. And we facilitate communications, and we have a lot of board members that serve, but we don't have anybody on the, like the tax appraisal district. We don't have any from Belton ISD that I know of, but we do have those channels of communication. So we, in a situation like this, where I would see the COG, would be a facilitator to say, hey, do you mind if we all get together and have a conversation on possible solutions to an issue that's been. And yeah, and ultimately, you know, because SITCOG is such a broad organization. You could actually contact me and say, hey, are these people ever going to communicate? Can we facilitate a meeting to discuss this issue? And then we can talk about how we make a workshop of that or something.
Okay, the teacher and me, and this is driving me crazy, okay? Because we've been sitting here, and I know that you guys back there don't ever come to our city council meeting. I'm sorry to throw you under the bus, but you're here, and so obviously you're here because you want to avoid something. And so I would love to hear from either one of you guys, because I truly believe that you're here. I could be wrong, and if I am, just ask.
Scott spoke about the sewer issue and infrastructure issue. The issues that we've been in Morgan Point for 40 years, been out with Savante, and we see the infrastructure issue. To us, that's the priority. So I'm very pleased that it's being discussed here and being addressed. You guys are familiar with it, so as the city council, that's what I'm happy with. So I don't want to waste your time repeating the other issues. So thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah.
I would
Well, I just saw our time dwelling now, and it made it
Scott,
look.
people that know me, they would know that I needed to say something I would, but I'm very happy. I also have been into a lot of all that, so I don't want to waste. I've had a meeting with Nelson and some of the city staff over our concerns, and they've been wonderful, so I'm very happy with how things are. So thank you for the opportunity. I thank the citizens for speaking up and being here, but, I don't want to waste your time on anything. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Sorry.
Say, if you want to do something useful, get up there to the school and hammer on that principal. How many kids are walking around there? What can we do to get that person to go back to their bosses, to the Delta ISD supervisors? Because they've got a board, right? And find out from them.
Yeah, I don't know the status of all the pieces that are out there right now, but it would be good to have what, there are the different components that are in process, and who are the people that would need to sue to slow on and get that moving. So I'm working on how would get in the public get the PTA, PTA, Belton, Lake Belton High School involved, and then also the Belton two campuses, because the parents sending out that email or a similar email to them will make that a big time priority. Because normally, it's not a, one email, two emails, always concerned, but when they get a whole bunch of them, they get parents whose kids are attending that school, that's when all of a sudden, people are going, oh, boy, this is a big deal. And so that is one avenue, I think, that would actually get things done forward. Something for the league, I think, right now, we kind of need some rules. New start, we need some rules to get everyone behind. So I mean, we focus on, let's see some rules. Get this, see if we get this, I'm happy for you to, help out and be, I'm sure a lot of us do that, be part of the activism, suggest some ways to get some emails or contacts right. Brad Buckley, he's been out there. There's other times, he's been out there. He knows some of the, maybe he knows some of these hot buttons around that you can make a phone call for, and it's going to be, 5,000 people calling. So, I don't know. I think we just need to get active. Many of us have done a job getting active in the community. I know it's tough. I mean, here we are, a community of 5,000 people, and we have a small group, and we might have, I don't know how many people are watching this online, but a handful probably online that are watching and talking about these things. So it's hard to get, it's very difficult to get our community, but maybe, safety, maybe we can get them riled up, like 15 of us can start thinking about a concerted effort, develop an email, develop an email list of people we should send emails to, suggest in the next newsletter, you can write Buckley, ask for them to help us push this agenda through so that we can get our word. Because right now, I've heard about this for a long time about this, and we never think it would happen. So it's time that we, as a community, it's time that we start to figure out where the buttons are that we need to push to make it happen. And I think if we get a win like that, it's gonna start to snowball. We can, there's other items out there. What are the things that are obstacles that are slowing things down? If we can start to get the safety, the ones that, the items that are really need safety, start to tackle those quickly, I think you guys are gonna have a very easy job, passing the
We're trying.
yeah, I know you are. I know you are, and I appreciate you having.
Let's just go fix the damn road. Talk about it for 20 minutes. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and the roads, yeah, but let's focus on what is our want and what is our need, how much money do we have to spend on community,
Resource.
And honestly, I went out, I had the same thing, the water erosion. I got a couple of blocks and I blocked up and stopped that water from going. I got through, a couple bags of asphalt, and I it was only going to get worse. And that's what so and I agree, we all pay taxes, and we don't do any more taxes, that's kind of an additional tax, I would write that off, at least out of pocket. But we can't all as a community say, hey, let's all go fix our own roads. I mean, that's. No, but we're doing it anyway.
Right.
If we build something and we run out of money, we're all, even if it's not a culvert tax, we're also paying, you know, every fundraisers and everything, it's all another tax to pay for something. So it's a So anyway,
I just want to address the issues that you have up there. I think your goals are great. I did want to clear up something. The destination was really not unanimous council. I can tell you I did not support it. Bedroom community has always been the way we are. We've had 2 surveys that clearly spell out what our residents want. So I think that was more of an administration type of thing. When they talked about getting a city manager, none of this can be accomplished without getting a city manager that knows he works for the city council and they work for you. You're the top one on the pyramid. So in getting a city manager, we want to make sure that they're going to support the residents' goals and wishes through the council that is listening and having this workshop. Thank you very much. I can tell you, like infrastructure, every year I went on the council in 1980. I was a baby, but I went on the council. And every year we had a 5-year plan. Every year we put money into roads. And every year we ate that elephant one bite at a time. The last few years, we did have a plan. Y'all saw the 5-year plan. It didn't get done. The city council can budget money. They can set that priority, but you need to have somebody who's going to say, let's get it going. And so that's very important in a city manager. Safety. We have one of the best police departments, fire departments, unbelievable. We're so proud of them. Our old master plan says 1 officer for every 500. We need to get another officer. We're one behind, and I know y'all are working on it. I know the police department's trying to get somebody too. So we need to kind of stick until we get our new master plan. We need to follow what our master plan says. Green spaces, this city has always been so protected of their green spaces. We have ordinances on the books, and we tell people to get their sheds out of the easements, and we've really abided by those easements. We need them. They're vegetative barriers. They're attractive. They're noise. They support our wildlife out here. So happy y'all think that that's important. Public trust is essential. All of y'all have had open doors, open telephone calls. I love that. Please keep it up. I love that you're doing town. Always consider the city council meeting like a town hall meeting. As far as communication, I think that Michelle had a great idea about opening up another thing. I know we're constantly working on it. Jim Ann on the websites and Esther doing some things with that too. So we need to continue to do that. And of course, I'm always going to pump the audits. Let's get our financial integrity. I know that's a big priority with this council. Please keep it. And I'm going to add one more thing to your little list up there. Tradition. This city is awesome because of our traditions. We have got the most incredible volunteers, and they do their events. Lynn with our COPS program, and she does the Halloween party. We do fishing derbies. We have all these wonderful family events. And one of the things, if you go to any TML meeting and you hear a speaker, they say that's what makes the city strong, holds us together, these traditions that we have, and these wonderful volunteers. So we never, ever take our volunteers for granted. They're the most awesome people in the world. And speaking of traditions, Santa will be here. Been here for 25 years with his lovely bride. This Friday, 6 o'clock, come here. It's not a kiddo thing. It's a family thing. It's a city thing. We're going to light the Christmas tree. Keep our traditions strong. Always, always have city traditions as part of your priority. And make sure when we get somebody on board that they support our citizens, because they are number one on the organizational chart and they operate through you. So thank you for keeping your doors open. Thank you for the meetings you have. And thank you for all the hard work that y'all are doing. Appreciate you.
thank you for coming and sharing your thoughts with us. And I wrote down a bunch of different things, and you have some great ideas. And join committees that you're interested in, because through committees, I think you can work through issues with a small group, and you're providing the resident input that we need as a council. So thank you for coming. Appreciate it.
I don't have anything. I took a whole lot of notes.
Hey, will I just say one last thing? I do want to just do a quick thing, and I already told Lynn, but Lynn, I do want to give you a public apology, and that is, we have a little community group. A lot of you have been to the community groups, have been, and on National Night Out, just happened to be the night that fall on where we normally have our group, and so I get a call, we're starting it, and the whole idea is getting the community together, neighbors meeting neighbors, things like that. So that, and I've got to know a lot of people in this room because of that. So I get a call from my wife, and she goes, "Hey, did you know they're having something up at the fire station?" And I said, "Really?" And she said, "Yeah." And I said, "Oh, no." I said, "That makes us look terrible." And I because the whole idea of us coming together is not to be divisive. And so I said, "Great, this is going to make us look divisive." Although it's National Night Out and neighborhoods have stuff, that was not the intent at all. And so I would pledge that next year, whoever could, we all just would be over to help however we could. So that would be my intent, which is bring a community together always. So.
Thank you all for coming out. Hopefully that, other than being a little long-winded, you have some ideas of what we're thinking about and what we can do. We want to hear from you. We really do. I mean, everybody says, "I want to hear from you." Shut up. We really do want. We have phone numbers and emails. We have personal. I think all of us have our personal emails up on the website, but we also have the.
Yeah, it's important that you communicate through the NPR one, just because it's all public record, and we need to do everything on the public record. So please, all of ours are NPR tx.us.
But anyway, however you do it, please communicate with us. Don't sit there and get frustrated because tell us. And we can have communication, discussion. Although we are all divinely inspired and know all the answers from day one.
Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it.
Thank you.